Are you trying to get your shift together?
Welcome to the Shift Sisters podcast, where real conversations inspire real transformations. We're not experts, but we're experiencers. I'm Sandra Sa.
And I'm Jennifer Richter.
We're your Shift Sisters.
Whether you're shifting like a sloth or it looks like you're having an exorcism, this is your space to breathe, reflect, and remember. We're here to talk shift with you. Welcome back to the Shift Sisters podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Richter, joined by our vivacious co-host, Sandra Sa, and our fabulous favorite Colorado Realtor, Patrick Laurienti. And as you all know him as our podcast estrogen balancer, Adam.
Yes.
He's got to keep the testosterone levels even around here. Today, in our shift reflection episode, we are actually going to circle back to one of our very first Grounded Guy episodes with Adam and Patrick. And we want to explore these conversations that we had before because Sandra and I, we were kind of, a little shook after our conversation with these guys because some of the insights that they brought to the table were really impactful.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to revisit those because life's about the reflection. You don't just move through it really quickly. If you don't reflect on it, then you're not going to have that personal growth. So thank you all for being here today.
Of course. Thanks for having us.
Sandra, give us some vibe checks, girl. I want to see that shirt. Tell me all about it.
Well, I got a shirt for Christmas by a special person, by my shift sister friend here, Stronger Than the Storm. And I'm feeling stronger than the storm. I'm feeling today as my check-in, I am feeling patchy hope where there's an opportunity for light, where there's just so much energy kind of around me and all the things that are happening. So I'm just feeling really optimistic and really excited about this new year. I'm really just feeling kind of that excited energy. And I hope that I can harness some of that energy into, my goals and all the things that I want to focus on, and also restoring myself through rest and other ways to help kind of slow myself down.
I'm
So
going to hold you to it. For
please,
that rest and restore and slowing down business, ma'am.
I appreciate that. But yes, that's my vibe for today.
That's awesome. Patrick, what's your vibe going on over there? How is the weather? How are you feeling? What's going on this time of year for you?
Weather is amazing here in Colorado. It's like 60 today, which I'll take that all day long.
Yeah.
So that's good. Feeling good, calm, open, excited.
He's like, it's early in the morning. I have yet to get the vibe going.
A little off this morning, but did meditation and just, some visualization, and that was grounding and calming. So but I feel great. Life's great. This time of year is one of my favorites. It's a little bit funky in that, it's like, do you slow down when I also want to speed up? But
yes.
yeah,
yes.
All's great.
That's awesome. What about you, babe?
Good here. Well, weather, you rarely see me in like long sleeves or hoodies, but it's cool enough here to warrant that. Although it is only 60 something, Patrick. So be that as it may. Read into that one how you want.
Yeah. Or Florida cold.
Yeah, Florida cold, exactly.
For sure. It's different.
Yeah, 60 here and we're in parkas. But overall, like just, I guess, mental space, I'm kind of in like the shift in between. I've had a lot of like big work presentations and projects and other stuff that I've wrapped up. And then I know there's a lot of great things on the horizon. So I'm in that kind of in between where I'm taking a breath, figuring out which things to put my effort into and which not, and trying to kind of be comfortable with that, which is easier said than done a lot of days.
I know, that's why I'm so excited to talk to the three of you, because I see so many similarities in this do nothing space or recalibrate space, and you guys start looking like you're glitching. So I can't wait to explore that. For me, for my vibe check, I'm pretty much feeling like a strung out string of Christmas lights. Like, I might be sparkly and stuff like that, but you got a lot of attachments to hold me up. So I have a lot of support getting me through all of the things that I've put on my plate, because I'm so excited. I am the one that brings the Christmas magic, just like
Yeah.
most moms in the world. And so I'm excited for all the things of this time of year. So, but Sandra, I heard you have a sip and I didn't bring anything too special, but I know you do.
Well, I do. I wanted to try something different today. So I have a strawberry fauxjito here, which is muddled strawberries, some lime, and I have some lavender in there. And it's just something like a little special and some seltzer water. So just a little special treat for me this morning to get me going since I'm not really a coffee drinker. And that's how I'm going to get my day started today.
Nice. Well, I have the scents that shift us, which are some essential oils that we always like to bring to the table. And I did one that's just super relevant. It's holiday peace. And it's one of those things that you can obviously only get during the holidays, but it's about contemplation, which is very relevant to reflecting, right?
Yeah.
And Holiday Peace is an incredible partner in contemplation. It captures the natural wintertime state of dormancy, which allows vital time and energy, conservation, and introspection. It reminds us that there are seasons and cycles for all living things. The peaceful aroma of this blend invites individuals to surrender to the stillness of the season and allows time to search out the deeper meaning behind the experiences. Holiday Peace is also an excellent companion on the journey of generational healing. So, it's one of those awesome blends that you diffuse and it makes your whole house smell like a Christmas tree because it's got all the fir oils and things like that. So I'm loving it. Well, we had this episode with the guys and it was about what they carry silently. And Sandra, I kind of want you to start because you had a lot of powerful feedback about your reflections of what some of the things that both Patrick and Adam said. Was there one thing that just, like, really stuck with you immediately that you had to reflect on?
Well, one of my biggest reflections from that podcast was a way to approach my husband because it's like speaking a love language, right? You have to approach with understanding what makes sense for that person.
Mhm.
And sometimes I'm kind of fast and furious or really, big and emotional. And I didn't realize how it overwhelmed a bit. And taking a step back and really sitting, connecting, and speaking in a way that was a little bit more objective, a little more like, this is what I see, this is what I feel, as opposed to all of the other like energetic, emotional kind of space, pieces there. So I think one of the biggest reflections is um, I needed to do a little more work about his way of communicating to me and all
Mm.
the signs and opportunities sometimes that I was missing because we weren't matching our kind of our communication styles.
Huh.
So that is something that I'm still working on as well as I observe him and see the trends and the things that he has done. But that was one of the biggest takeaways in our chat. It's still something that's resonating with me and helping me through that as well.
Awesome. Patrick, I mean, in this episode of, like, what you guys are carrying silently, was there anything that kind of just stuck with you after that conversation that kinda kept replaying in your mind and you were thinking, "Man, I really kinda wanna work on this a little bit more?"
I mean, I would say that the thing that stuck with me is just hearing Adam's side of things
Mm.
and just noting some of the similarities that us men have and carry
Mhm.
silently.
Mhm.
I I think it was just a good reflection point for me in general
Yeah.
that was super beneficial and helpful and just kind of shined a flashlight on just being more present to what's going on, not just
Mhm.
inside internally, but myself, but
Mhm.
also in relationship with kids, my wife, etc.
Well, I have to say, I feel like you are definitely a man of action, a man of your word. And I love that when you get inspired about something, you kind of make a plan, even if it's a small plan, and you dive all in. And I feel like, one of the things that you talked about last was just about connecting more with the guys in your area and maybe trying to find a way to build a bit more of a deeper connection. And I feel like I see you out there, finding different ways. You're hosting different events, cornhole events and different things like that of get-togethers. How's that been working out for you?
Yeah, and as you say that, that reminds me, we did a men's mental health paintball. I don't know how mentally healthy paintball is for a bunch of guys, but
It's awesomely healthy. Trust me, I
uh,
love
Yes.
shooting people.
um, but that was great. That was really fun. We had a bunch of guys out there and played paintball for the first time in a long time.
That's awesome.
And so that was one of the events we did, which was super fun. So we're gonna do probably, I don't know, at least one, but I'd like to do two or three men's mental health events next year. I really enjoy doing stuff like that and getting together. And so we did that. We did a Broncos meetup and went and watched the Broncos. But I'd really like to incorporate more of a mental health theme
Yeah.
in some of the
Mm,
events we do next year because we just played paintball and hung out and had fun, which is great. But also would love to intertwine a like let's actually talk and
mhm,
have some time to reflect and hear what's going on in each other's lives.
mhm.
Hey, I mean, you're taking the first steps to build the foundation of the group and the connection, and it can only go up from there. So it's awesome. And, I just want to give you so much props to actually doing it. There's so many
Yeah.
people that will think about things or they'll talk about it or they don't want to do it because they want to participate and not lead type of thing. And it really just takes that fearless act of just stepping out of your comfort zone and trying because you never know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, you were sharing with me about some of the things that Patrick had brought up in our last conversation and how you agreed with certain things, but it didn't show up in the same way for you. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think the one that stuck with me the most was like thinking of being alone, kind of on an island versus in a team. And Patrick said something to the effect of like the partnership that he has and the lens that he looks through and working on things with his wife. And I think that was like a pretty powerful perspective because in society, kind of generically speaking, I think it's easy to see marriages as kind of two like opposing forces or opposing energies, like this whole like men, Venus, Mars, all that stuff. I think, but the reality of it is that it's really powerful to find that synergy where you can truly get aligned. And I know we've touched maybe on that here a little bit, in some prior episodes, but I think I've been reflecting on that more and more to look for ways to go up more aligned and also lean in to where I don't necessarily have to tackle everything all alone and just, throw it all on my shoulders when I've got, an amazing partner that's willing to be kind of in the trenches with me. So I think that was a pretty like powerful thing that definitely stuck with me and that I've thought about a lot because I think it's good not only for me, but I think it's good for people in general to reflect on that because it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody you're married to. It could also be a great friend. You can look at it through different perspectives. But who are the people that are close to you, and do you truly see them as people that are like allies in this life together with you, or are they people that you keep at a distance because you're not comfortable sharing those kind of things, or you don't know that if they would have your back? And that alone, just thinking about it through that also makes me look at the people in my life a little differently to kind of figure out where they fall in that spectrum. And is it because of
Mhm.
me or is it because of them? Whatever that may be. But I think it was a really valuable takeaway.
That's awesome. Well, I know we were talking about places where in our lives that we were showing up because we felt like we had to. Not that we didn't want to, but it was more out of obligation than anything. And, I know for me, I really took that into my life auditing to see like, okay, well, I feel such heavy expectations from certain family members, right? To do this activity or to host or to gift a certain thing or whatever. And I really was reflecting on am I doing this from my heart because I want to?
Mhm.
Does it fuel me as well? Or is there silent expectation or, words that they think don't get back to me affecting me? And it's really changed a lot of the ways that I'm approaching things. And of course, just this last half of the year, I've been observing more than anything, but boy, I've got a big plan for the new year. And a lot of those silent expectations that come from other people in my life, friends, family, things like that, are definitely going to have a new approach for me in the new year. What about you guys? Was there anything that you noticed that you were doing and showing up for because of other people's expectations that maybe you've started to kind of think about different ways to approach it moving forward?
I can start while everybody's thinking. I think me and Jen probably look at this through a little bit of the same lens, which is like, is that something that's obligation or is it something out of desire? And I've started to use that to kind of ask myself if I'm doing something because I want to or I have to. And I'm doing that across like everything, big and small, right? Like even something that I'm like about to eat, or maybe it's something that I want to do in a given moment. Like I feel like I have to do that, or is it something that I want to do? And it doesn't, I'm not judging it either way, right? Like there are legitimately some things that you have to do that you can't just say like, well, I'm not doing that because I have to do it. But I think what I've realized is how you make those decisions in those moments really defines how you live. So you realize like where you put your efforts, where you'll see results. And I say this bit a lot. I don't, is that you have a finite amount of time every day, and you get to choose where you invest that through those decisions. And wherever you invest that is where you're going to kind of reap what you sow, right? Like, are you putting in the time into a relationship and your relationships improve? Are you putting it into work or to a business that you're starting? Like a friendship could be any list of things, but everything that you choose to do, you're at the same time choosing other things not to do. And I think it's important to think of both sides of that decision so that you are aligning your, I guess, desires toward where you're wanting to go and what you're wanting to achieve. So a lot of these things, like I don't have like very, very specific things that I'm doing, but I try to kind of bubble them up a level so that I have a template to have on like how I want to think about these things in my life. And then that causes all these small moments for me to say, okay, like reflect on, is this good for me or not?
Well, I remember Patrick saying too, like, he has a set amount of hours with his family in the evening.
Right.
And his struggle was when I'm working, I'm thinking about my family. And when I'm with my family, I'm thinking about work too. And, that's like there's hidden expectations in there too, but then the struggle at the same time.
Yeah,
Patrick, how's that worked out?
I mean, it's still work in progress. I think it's just the nature of just being a human being, being an entrepreneur, owning my own business, etc. Yeah, I mean, I, as you were saying that, I thought of this again of just I've been wanting for years 2 phones so that I can set my work phone on my desk and just actually leave it. It's those times where I take the kids to the park or go to the grocery store real quick that if my wife needs to call me, I need a phone. And so I bring mine with me. But it's just seeing that notification of a client text. I'm like, I need to respond real quick. It's gonna take 2 seconds, but it's that 2 seconds that, completely throws off the presence of family. So it's something I'm consistently aware of. I've thought about doing a second phone to be able to better detached from work when I'm with the family. I think that would be really, really beneficial. I don't know what it is, but even if I like turn my phone off or just leave it charging in another room, it's just like that action. Even if I have my phone with me in my pocket, I'm not using it. It's just different. So yeah, just going back to, the work life and being in 2 places at once kind of thing. It's just, I think it's just something that I'm getting 1% better at every day. At least
Yeah, it's like
I
boundary
hope.
assistance, right? You're like, I'm having trouble creating that boundary on my own, so I want to find a different way to approach it, which is great. And you don't know till you try.
Mhm, mhm.
What
I
about you,
agree.
Sandra?
So as I hear everyone speak, I hear all this wisdom and knowledge and I say to myself, there are things in my life that I am not very clear on. if I want to spend my energy on it or not. So let's take, for example, if you have a problem with like a family member, right? And you love them and it's this time of year and gatherings and all of that. How do you spend that energy? Right? Do you spend that energy of need to step away and step back for my own, mental health?
Mental health.
Do I lean into it and approach it in a different way? And as I hear everyone speaking, I'm like, gosh, that sounds so like, I love that, right? I love that it's so clear, but there are areas in my life that are not clear. And there are areas of my life where that needs energy. So career, progression, all the things that I want to do, but I also don't know, right? Do I want to make a big shift in my career? Do I want to make a shift in this relationship with this family member? And that takes up time and energy, emotional energy, mental energy. As I take, as Jen, you were saying, taking inventory of your life, I'm sitting here saying, okay, when I'm taking this inventory in these 3 specific situations or circumstances or areas of my life, gosh, I don't know what to do if I, kind of put my energy into it or withdraw from it. So that's yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting with that concept. And I love hearing, what everyone is saying about, how they're trying to maximize on their time, with family and friends and career and all of that. But that's what's kind of hitting for me.
I would encourage you to, for one, I feel like you're so close to all of these things that you cannot see the
Uh-huh.
big picture, first of all. Second of all, it's like looking at a board game. A lot of times there's a lot of different moves. There's not just one strategy. But I think that people often only see relationships and careers in one path. So, for example,
Uh-huh.
if you have a friend or family member, someone in your life that maybe your relationship has shifted and it doesn't feel the way it used to, and you're like, wow, I don't know how to invest in this relationship anymore. I don't know how to move forward. I encourage you to look at that relationship and go, okay, what parts of this relationship do I still feel fueled by and a positive exchange from? And is it only in this way or is it only in these 3 ways? Well, then maybe you need to lean into those ways only with that
Right.
person, right? And so, like, I have certain people in my life that in person interactions are limited to an hour for me because they trigger me
Yeah.
and they evoke so many things that are so dark and negative and heavy that I can't do it. But virtually, like maybe just through Facebook, they present very positive and uplifting, and even our communication through Facebook is very fueling and healthy. So then I choose to, with that person, only lean in that method. I'm not going to cancel out the relationship altogether. I'm just going to only lean into the parts that are healthy in a sense.
Mm.
But even for a career, a lot of people don't even see certain things that they are passionate about as a career. They look at it as a hobby or a passion project, and maybe they've never done anything for themselves as a career. They've always, done something for someone else. And so it's frightful to be on your own and step out on your own. And so I encourage you to look at it as you are on a board game looking at multiple different strategies. You have to step back. You have to see what all the other players are doing as well too. And without restriction, just play
Mhm.
around with the ideas
Right.
because writing them out like you do, it's just play. There's no commitment. And you
Uh-huh.
can write it out to see what that might look like, what it feels like. It's kind of like this thing I heard today. Like if you had 2 choices and both were good options, but you didn't know which one to pick, and you flipped a coin, and if you flip that coin and you were like, yes, that's awesome, then you know you're leading with what you're most passionate about and what aligns with you. But if you flip that coin and you were like, okay, well, that's good, but I was kind of hoping for the other one, then you know the other one is the other way to go. So, kind of playing around like this and just exploring without commitment and just a little bit of fun on paper and in your mind can help you navigate where you want to go a little bit.
Okay,
On
now I'm gonna
Jen's
design a board game. Thank you, Jen. What was that, Adam?
on Jen's comment, another thing that's kind of a fun thought experiment, but is to think about these things, these kind of pieces that you have in your life and kind of do a what if, like what if I spent literally all my time investing into that, like nothing else, right? And then think about the opposite. What if I spent 0 time? Like I cut that thing off completely and I'm not
Mm,
putting anything into it. And then just for one, think about like what if, like what could happen? But then also think about how you feel with it, right? Is it giving
yeah.
you relief? Is it giving you excitement? And that kind of deep thinking into that can also help you kind of figure out maybe where you want to lean in more or less to some things.
I love that because I'm ready to like purge some things from my life because there's just, I don't have enough time for the things that I really enjoy. So looking at it with those perspectives and even just that bird's eye view and the board game analogy, I think I would give me some clarity on where I can kind of trim those areas.
I love it. Well, have you guys learned to protect your peace a little bit differently since our last conversation without completely closing people off? Rolling off of that comment that we just talked about, how I had to adjust my relationship with some people. Patrick, you look like you have one.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't totally yeah, so I haven't totally cut this person off in my life, somebody very close
Mhm,
to me, but I have almost, like, very naturally distanced myself,
mhm,
Mm,
even from just, like, an internal investment in the relationship. Like, not outwardly, not, you know, still texting and doing things when it comes up, but just I've almost, like, detached myself from the relationship in a lot of ways.
mhm.
It just wasn't filling me anymore. Um Which felt very freeing, um, and not as difficult as I thought it would be, but I think
Yep.
that's the part of the you know, it's like, it's just where I'm going and the trajectory,
Mhm,
and it's like, I'm going here and you're over there, and, you know, after so long of, like, I know I'm going this way, it's like I finally crossed the line of, like, "Okay,
mhm.
yeah, this has gotta go a different way." So, yeah, that's definitely been in another example is like I used to play poker with the guys all the time, which there became a point where I really loved it, and then it was like, do I actually love this?
yeah.
Like I think I do, and there's parts of it I love, but there's other parts of like I don't want to play poker for 8 hours and go to bed at 1 and wake up at 6 a.m. and not be present for my family. And so, you know, now it's like I've missed out on like the last 3 poker nights, and you know, at first it was a little like I kind of want to go. Now it's just like, yeah, I'm good. You know,
Mhm,
much as I'd love to play and hang out with you guys, I just there's other things that are more of a priority now at this point in my life.
mhm.
Not to say there's no judgment or nothing bad about what they're doing. It's just more, you know, just factually, objectively, you play until 1 p.m. at 1 a.m. Like I
Mhm.
prioritize sleep and being awake and alive and present with my family the next day.
Well,
So,
yeah, your personal interest can change, right? It doesn't have to
yeah,
stay the same forever. You can have seasons.
100%. Yeah. So definitely in a new season, and there's been some natural ways where my peace has been protected.
Adam and I were just talking about that today. We were seeing someone that, just lives that line of still wanting to like live one lifestyle and a new lifestyle at the same time.
Mm,
And I said, man, I remember when we were in that stage and
Mhm.
it was a struggle because I knew where I wanted to be and I was still holding on to these patterns and habits and old seasons of things and silent obligations that I was putting on myself. And I don't even think about them anymore. Once I finally let them go and started
yeah.
embracing and going towards the things that I really want to do, I'm like, God, I'm so like sad that I didn't try it earlier, but dear God, I feel free. I feel empowered and I love my life more now than I ever did.
Mm.
Mm.
What about
Awesome.
you, Adam? Have you had any ways of protecting the peace without kind of closing yourself off?
boundaries are a little tricky for me. Not good at putting them up, tend to be heavily self-sacrificing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, me and Jen were talking about just yesterday, looking at the whole like kind of your lack of planning is not my emergency. And I think that there's oftentimes a lot of people around us, whether it be work, friends, children, anybody falls into this bucket where like the things that they're doing, you like natively inherit responsibility, or you feel like you need to inherit tasks and responsibility because of their behaviors. And it's caused me to be a little bit more reflective, historically and more recently on like, again, like kind of what I talked about earlier with the what if I don't do that thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, will the company truly go out of business? Will will that friendship die? Or maybe on the other hand, like that person learns to do that thing themselves,
Mm-hmm.
or that person grows up and now is able to handle something that they weren't able to handle before. And it takes a little discretion, right? Like, of course, you have to be careful not to, like if somebody's in a legitimate emergency or a health crisis, like there's certain elements where you'll still have to be a little more discerning, maybe. But I think it's easy to kind of shift into the like always assume that you're the savior and wanting to help and need to help and you're the best person or the only person. And then that causes a lot of like erosion of boundaries over time, and maybe there's even some ego there. We're feeling like, hey, like I'm the best person to solve that, or I'm the only person that can do that. And when I feel that way, I also too try to think about, is there ways for me to like empower those around me? And that's for us at least. And then Jen's encouraged me a lot there with just pulling our children into things that I'm working on, even, right? Like, why do them alone? Like, one, I'll get help, which will help me get it done faster. But two, they'll learn probably to do something that they weren't aware of before. And that's really a win-win from a couple different perspectives.
Like installing a ceiling fan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We got a new ceiling fan, and Ashton went through the process of putting that in. And I think that's like a life skill, right? Like, do you know how to put in a ceiling fan? Like, now you do. So I think these are just those small moments that are important, right? Like, I could have absolutely, in that example, taken that all on and just did it myself. I know how to do it. I've done a bunch of them. But why? It'll take longer, of course, right? It's probably going to take twice the time to go through it together and explain to the things and have him do it. But now he knows how to do that for the rest of his life, and he's comfortable doing it and safe. So I think that's important to think about in all the dynamics that we encounter. Well, like I said, whether it be work, friendships, our family, significant others, because I think the outcome of that will be better for everybody. It's like a rising tide raises all ships type scenario. So think about those areas where you could take a moment to empower those around you, I guess. And I think that will inform better boundaries.
Do you feel like, though, in a sense of that wasn't necessarily protecting your peace, but it was almost giving you peace because you still got it done, but then you created a moment and a memory and an empowerment all at the same time. So you didn't have to protect in a defensive manner or anything. You actually were able to call it in that method.
Yeah, it turned what would otherwise have just been a task, which would have been really like not peace, right? Like just a job to go do, into, like you said, more of a moment of like mentoring, inspiration, like just positive, like time being together, which is good. So there's like a lot of really great things that came out of it handling that way versus, maybe, just doing it myself. So yeah, it's a net benefit because of that, like that type of mentality.
Awesome.
So I have to add to this because something in the same lines as Adam, this recently and just after all the discussions that we've had, one of the things that I'm actively doing, and I've seen that the benefits of it, is letting go. So I want to be in control of everything. I want to, n- when you cut the cucumbers, that's how you cut them. When we make decisions on our, on our investments, this is what I want to do. This is it, all the things. And recently, over the last like 3 or 4 months, I've said, let's just let it be and let's see what decisions are made, because then it is not for me to carry that all the way through. And I cannot do that for every aspect of life, right? So I started letting decisions go that I would jump on and want my input on and try to control. And that has, as Adam, given me more peace, because the outcome wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, or it taught me something, or it was different. And the other thing is when people ask me, do you want help? I'm starting to say yes. And that's been a life changer for me, where it's yes, I want help, and trying to work through those feelings of, well, I'm not doing it as well, or I'm inadequate, or all of those feelings that bubble up, and really appreciating the person saw me, the person wanted to help, the person really, is extending themselves to support. And that is the work that I'm doing in trying of shifting that mental set of getting that help is just as important as providing that help as well. So as you said, Jennifer, it's not a defensive like protecting your peace, but there's certain elements of change that are giving my peace a little bump, a little boost, and
I'm trying
helping
to
me there.
like what you said, how like when someone asks if they can help, I freeze. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't know where you can help me at because it's all in my head and I don't
Yes.
like then I have to like train you or tell you what to do
Mhm.
and so I'm struggling with that because I don't know how to direct
Yeah.
because that's what happens when somebody
Yeah.
wants to help. You have
Yeah.
to direct them and I'm just like, I don't know, just jump in where you see it.
Yes.
But so I'm struggling with that for sure. But yeah, girl, like that let them or what is it? The New York way them.
Yes. Sorry.
What
That's just my yes.
yeah, it's like I've learned there's a lot of different times that I have done it and it's worked out great, but I have to be in the right mindset and ready to implement that because if I invite someone along to do stuff that I have like a task for or a list for in a particular way of doing and I have any time constraints, Lord, no. I can't let anybody else drive the bus because they're not going to do it right or which is my way, the right way. And, it's gonna make me crazy. Adam's laughing because he knows exactly what it is. He cannot drive or go to the grocery store with me if I am in,
The zone.
I'm on a mission. But if it's just a relaxed day, then I can let him drive his way and I can let him, help grocery shop his way. But other than that, oh no.
Yeah,
Mhm.
similar to what you're saying, Chandra. We both, like me and Jen, both have
True
somewhat
Indian
control
chiefs.
elements. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
we do stuff like very
So
differently to
different.
achieve the same thing. And similar to how you felt, like that would drive me crazy to the point where I would like try to micromanage
Right.
or tell Jen she's doing it wrong or do it this way instead. But the reality of it is, I was like, is that, is there any point to that? Like, do I
I
need to tell her to cut the cucumbers, like you're saying, the way that I cut them?
right.
They're still going to be cut and they're still going to be in the salad and they'll be fine. Like, do I need to go die on this cucumber hill? Like,
It's so true,
and
Adam.
I
I'm
would
telling
though.
it's
Yeah.
true. Because I
Yeah,
had a
yeah.
moment like that this week where I'm like, the buns weren't toasted the way and I'm saying to myself, "Why
Exactly.
am I" and it's
Yeah.
not about the buns, right? It's not about the cucumbers. It's not about and it's true. You can get to the same point and take different journeys. And I'm keep telling myself that. Like you can get to the same point with through different journeys and it doesn't make it inherently wrong. So, yeah, that is still a lesson.
It sounds like we're gonna have to start a support group for that. Patrick, the last conversation, we were talking about strength for you guys, right? Because men have this vision of strength and that they feel like they need to uphold. And we talked about, what that really means to you guys. What has evolved for you in your vision of being strong?
Mm. Oh, that's such a good question. There's so many pieces to that. Jokingly, and then I'll get into my answer. My son was like, "Oh, my friend at school yesterday was like singing the song that boys are strong and girls aren't." And there's a big talk in my house. My wife, and she's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, who's saying this?" And no, girls are strong, and so that was cool. But so strength. I mean, I guess what comes up for me is there's so many different aspects of this, right? There's strength in being vulnerable. There's strength in knowing when to let go and not die on the
Yeah.
cucumber hill, right? And there's strength in the actual masculine there's so many things, but gosh, I think strength is being able to do what you say you're going to do. I think there's strength in not having to control everything. There's
Mhm.
strength in being able to look at yourself and say, How did that go? Did I show up in the way I wanted to? No?
No.
Okay. That's all right. Let's do it again next time." The last piece to this, because again, there's so many just things coming up in my mind. I think there's a lot of strength to giving yourself grace.
Yes.
Huh.
And I think that plays a part in a lot of what we've been talking about is like, if you do something with a relationship that, you know, doesn't really feel you, and just giving yourself grace to be like, it's all good, right? You die on the cucumber hill, and it's like the grace to be like, yeah, maybe I'm not going to do that next time. And I'm not going to beat myself up. Moving on, right? We'll correct next time. Um, so I think there's a lot of strength in that. I guess I would say I derive most of my strength from just that, is just always looking at myself in the mirror and saying, "Hey, am I showing up the way I want to?"
I
Mhm.
love those. Those are just incredible because I think so many people would pass over those and
Yes.
not see that as a strength. And it's a
Mhm.
deep strength. Like that's rooted. I love that. And it makes me feel a little bit better about myself in some of the ways that I've been trying to improve. And I was like, oh, that means I'm getting stronger then.
Mhm.
Mm,
So, what about you, Adam? You know, had this vision of what it looks like to be strong as a man, as a husband, as a father, and a friend. And has your vision of strength evolved since our last conversation?
Yeah, I think it's constantly evolving. Like even maybe longer than our last conversation. My probably old perspective was, you know, as a man, like you just handle everything. You don't cry, rub dirt on it. Like, don't show vulnerability. Kind of a lot of the like cliche, fully masculine characteristics, I guess I would say. But I think over time in reality, I've seen that there's kind of more strength and like a balance there. Like, because the reality of it is, like, if you take on everything yourself, like, nobody's strong enough to truly take on absolutely everything.
True.
Like,
Right.
eventually, like, the foundation will crumble, and that there's actual strength in, like, empowering those around you, because now you've, like, strengthened people around you and brought them up. Or, like, vulnerability is an example. I think Patrick touched on that, just kind of lightly passed that one over, but there's strength in actually being willing to talk about the things that are challenges in your life or that you're working on or with or whatever, so that for one, others can see that they're not alone. And I think that's kind of what Patrick said at the beginning, right? That he got some benefit out of just hearing my perspective, as did I from hearing his, because immediately that made me feel like, okay, you're not alone, right? Other people are kind of dealing with similar stuff. And that's important too. But that would never happen without a little bit of vulnerability. I think if I just everybody played their cards close and like, oh yeah, I'm fine, everything's good, like solid here, right? They would never know that, like, well, in reality, this is deeply something that I'm struggling with. And then it might be like, hey, well, I'm struggling with that too. Or I've struggled with that. And here is a way I got through it or something that really worked for me. That type of opportunity would never open up without that vulnerability. So I think that's like another element of strength. And then the other last one I would say is just the like partnership and willingness to be open to others.
Mm.
I think really early on, and I think a lot of like young managers make this mistake too, that they feel like they have to kind of like lead from the directive, like you need to do this, you have to do that, and they get this real like boss strength, like thinking it's kind of a masculine power mentality. When in reality, that's not right. You're just become a kind of a dictator, and the real strength is if you can inspire those people to want to do those things. So it's kind of a lead from the front versus lead from the back scenario. And I think when you do that, that's how like true strength shows up, because again, you're improving the people around you. So I know it's kind of a long monologue here on some of the ways that I view strength, but because of that, it's continues to evolve. And I look at ways that I can kind of get out of the normal paradigm and show up to those around me in a better way.
That's awesome. What about you, Sandra?
Girl, I don't know what strength is sometimes, right? Because, I love what Patrick said about giving yourself grace. And I'm in that like New York City, go, go, go. You gotta, puff out your chest and do what you need to do and all of that. And sometimes that energy creeps up, and that's how I am. And then I realize it's exhausting me and I'm depleted and I don't feel very strong because I am just a puddle on the floor. And when I give myself the restorative time and just the ability to just take inventory of myself, of my feelings, of what I need, and then express that, that feels very strong. Like that feels like strength to me, where I can stop taking care of everyone, stop asking, what I can do for them. And the receiving part is when I feel truly when I'm at my strongest, even though I'm in that space of receiving. Because once I get that, I can regenerate and really be that what I'm supposed to be. So I'm still kind of thinking through what that means for myself and how I can help support myself in strengthening the places and the pieces and the parts that have always tried to be strong for others.
Absolutely. Well, hearing all this just reminds me that I put this strength expectation, I think, on Adam that is unrealistic because, just over the last couple of days, having some different conversations, I'm telling him, like, you are strong in this, and this way, but you're not strong in this way. And it is like a weak spot and it could, cause damage for you. And it's something you need to pay attention to. And then the more I think about it, I'm like, if we were to sit here and to list out our strengths, our strong areas and our weak areas, hopefully they should fill in the gaps for one another and not just always overlap. And I'm learning from just this conversation alone that I have to remember, right? We all can't be strong in every single category, but maybe I can be strong for him in those weaker categories and vice versa. And I really need to find a way to lean in his weaker categories in a sense with a little bit more empowerment and observation and love and intention, because how do we get strong? By support and patience and grace and training and all of those things. And just because he might have a weaker spot now doesn't mean it's always going to be like that. I want to invest in him in a loving way instead of an accusatory way, as I would really hope that he would do for me, because he does do those things for me. And so this just really shows me an opportunity that I have a way to be a little bit stronger in helping him to gain some strength as well.
That reminds me too. I think it's kind of a philosophy of sorts for people in work relationships, but you're better to like invest your time in strengthening your strengths than your weaknesses. And it's really challenging for, and sometimes impossible for folks to truly take a weakness and make it a strength.
Okay.
It's not to say it is impossible, but like, imagine somebody that's, I don't know, 4 foot tall and, 75 pounds and they want to become a professional, NFL player. Like, sure, is that possible? Maybe like, those Rudy scenarios, there's like edge cases. But then imagine like this, like somebody else that's, I don't know, 300 pounds, naturally muscular, like very like athletic, just has like genes for that. And they want to become like a professional football player. Like they already have strengths in a lot of the characteristics that overlap with the thing. So if they lean harder into those things, they'll probably go further in those things. Whereas if they're like really, really overly indexing on their weaknesses and trying to put time into that, you may be not now putting time into what your strengths actually are. So I think it's good to reflect on and understand like what are your strengths, because I think if you don't know that, like that's probably where you need to start. And I think Jen has some good tools that we've used online with like Strengths Finder, and there's some different things you can do here to help figure that out. But it's important to factor in like where you put your time, because if you just spend so much time focusing on that weakness trying to bring it up, like it's going to be at the sacrifice or the trade again of
Uh,
possibly making your strengths better, and maybe you become exceptional in that thing that you know that would have been your strength if you put time in it. So something to think about along the same lines as what you're talking about.
yeah, I definitely have to think about that. Well, one of the things that is an intense question, I think, for all three of you. I have really learned to love this part of life, but Patrick brought this up in our last conversation about his do nothing day and how if he doesn't put it on the calendar, right, it's not going to happen. But then he's twitching and glitching because he's like, what do I do with the do nothing day? Because do nothing days can look a little different, right? Maybe you're laying in bed watching informational videos because it's something that you're interested in, or maybe it's just playing board games with their kids all day, right? Do nothing can look very different for a lot of people because there's something that they're doing is typically a routine behavior. So I know that my busy friends here today on the call have a little bit of a challenge for the term do nothing. Have you guys kind of sat with that concept since our last conversation, and how has that changed for you guys? Let's start with
No
Patrick since
comments.
he yeah, no comments. He's like, I still have no do nothing days.
I would echo that. I haven't had a do nothing day. One day recently, it's kind of not really a do nothing day, but there was a
2005.
yeah, there was a day where I just wasn't feeling it, and it was either last week or the week before. I'm trying to put words to it because it's not like I did nothing. I actually worked that day, but there was this like level of detaching myself from an outcome, I guess you would say,
Yeah.
which was super freeing and felt like a do nothing day because I was like, I'm gonna just do what felt like nothing in my work. I'm just gonna do some emails. I'm not gonna be focused on like business development or prospecting and all this. I'm just gonna just kind of let go and just have fun and naturally do whatever comes to me. And so I still worked. It definitely was far from a do nothing day, but there was that level of detachment which felt freeing. But other than that, yeah, I haven't had a do nothing day recently.
He's like, I brushed my soul with a little bit of do nothing essence, but I didn't really absorb it. What about you, Sandra? Do you have any do nothing days since we've
Well,
last spoke?
I'm trying to plan one. That's my progress, right? I'm trying to get a day where I have nothing. But I do a really nice job of like winding down on the evenings though. Like
Yes.
I do my restorative baths, which I love, and I'm experimenting with all of these different
Mhm.
soaks and all of these different things. And then what I'll do is I'll shut off all the lights in the bath and listen to like a 10-minute, 15-minute meditation.
Mm.
And I feel like I get out and I just feel so refreshed. And so that has been my compromise for a do nothing full day.
Mhm.
But okay, can I just ask the audience here, like, if I did a do nothing day, but it included like crafts and journaling and
That's
reading,
that's
is
good.
that a do nothing day?
As long as you have nothing on the calendar except blocked out do nothing, and because you're inspired by it at that moment and you do whatever it is you want to do, that's a do nothing day.
Okay, okay, so yes. So that is gonna get on the calendar for sure because I'm craving that at this time, and
Mhm.
I'm just kind of putting it in like, evenings here, and then if I have a few hours in the day, but nothing like, full day.
That's a great clue, right? What are you craving?
I'm craving that.
Right? That is a great clue to say that is part of my do nothing day because you block out the whole day. You don't book yourself going to wherever. But like if it's something you literally feel called to do or you're craving and inspired to do right that day in whatever order, then that's a do nothing day.
Okay.
What about you, Adam?
So do nothing. The short answer is no. Like I'm not great at it. I think the longer kind of answer is I think about it a little differently. For one, a whole day is just a little bit of a tough to commit. I break things down into chunks. So instead of a do nothing day, like, can you do a do nothing hour or a
Okay.
do nothing 5 minutes? So I think about it that way initially, to where can I at least incorporate small chunks of that time into my day. But then also, do nothing comment kind of has a negative stigma because it's like
Yeah.
nothing implies like lazy.
Yeah.
Even though it's not, I think it's actually a positive thing and it's healthy. But I think that's why some of us with that kind of type A mindset are a little bit averse to thinking about a do nothing day.
Which is a great opportunity to rename it.
Agreed. Yeah. So I think
Mhm.
to me, it's more of like a do something different day. And that, whatever that may be, is could be something that's creative, explore something new, give yourself time to do like deep thinking on something that you wouldn't otherwise, maybe.
Mhm.
Because I think we live between work and all commitments and the stuff that we have in like a society of like chained constant stimulation, shorts, like one thing to the next. So I don't think there's a lot of time to do that. And me and Jen talk about this sometimes too, where like doing something different is important because experiences, I think, are a key part of life, but they
Mhm.
also open up new kind of pathways in your brain that it may be something you become really passionate about, or it may be something that you learn by doing something different that helps you unlock something in your normal work or in your normal
Yep.
relationships. And there's just a lot of value around that. The other side of this is like, I kind of think about do nothing when you're, for people that meditate. I do, sounds like some other folks here do, but it's like think of nothing when you're meditating is
Mhm.
also a challenge for people. So the
Yep.
whole time they're sitting there like trying to think of nothing. But in reality, if you're wanting to meditate like successfully, you generally have to put your focus on something, a single thing. And then if you can, like, don't let your mind drift from that. Or if it does drift, just kind of let that go and then recenter on that single thing. So nothing's kind of a misnomer in that sense, because it's like nothing is nothing. It doesn't exist. But I'm viewing it through that lens now of trying to take this in much smaller chunks to incorporate these moments
Mm.
of recharge, these moments of fun, of exploration, things along those lines.
Well, I think this is a great example of kind of what I was saying to Sandra as far as like how to take a step back and look how you can take something that just needs to be reframed, right? So we all want to have a do nothing day. It sounds amazing, but it also triggers us to almost do more because of the word nothing is a negative connotation and things like that. But if we take that same thing and we change the reframing of the words to do whatever you want day, right?
Mhm.
Then it's a lot more exciting and a lot more empowering. And then you lead by what am I craving? Is it food? Is it family? Is it an activity? Is it being in nature? Like, I'm going to do that on my do whatever I want day.
Yeah.
And so just by making those small tweaks of renaming something can change your whole game. It's your whole strategy changes. So, like for me, I am very strict on Sundays. Nobody better have any alarm on in the house on Sundays. Everybody needs to sleep till they want to sleep. It doesn't matter if you want to get up at 6 or if you want to get up at 10 or whatever. You should literally do whatever your body calls for on Sunday is do whatever you want day kind of thing. And from there, I kind of let it flow because I love listening to the natural rhythm of things. And, Adam will get up and he'll look to see if he's got any marching orders for the day. And if he doesn't, he's like either going to read outside or he'll get onto some crazy task list until I tell him, hey, I have plans for something. But Sunday is my day that I try to structure a do whatever you want day. And boy, let me tell you, when I tell my children that we have a do whatever you want day on the calendar, they're like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Because I think we don't do enough until I
Yeah.
tell them that that's what we have. And then they're like, oh, thank God we get a break.
Yeah.
We've been going too much. We've been to too many places. And even if it's things at home that we're doing, they're just like, oh, we want that. In their mind, do nothing day, but it's really do whatever you want.
Mhm.
So let's see how that works. And I challenge all of you before you have completed the day today, look at your calendar and for one day on the month of December, just for one day in the entire month, block out the whole day for a do whatever you want day. And I do want to hear about it. If you guys were to sum up any of your biggest takeaways about protecting your peace and kind of reshaping your strategy for moving forward, what would it be? San?
Protecting doesn't have to be a fight or a defense. I think you can gift yourself peace. And I'm also taking away the different strategies of inventorying my life, the different ways to do that, from the bird's eye view to the board game analogy. And I'm not going to die on the cucumber hill anymore. Thank you.
Wisdom.
Yeah.
What about you, Patrick?
I love the reframe of do whatever you want day.
Mm-hmm.
That I have done and do, I'd say, more frequently than I even thought as I heard you talking about it. And I'd say that alone brings me peace, allows me to stay
Good.
grounded and, somewhat even keel throughout weeks, because I think there's this somewhat obsession of like, I gotta do and grow and where's my next client coming from, etc. And it's easy to stay in that. And so like, but it was either yesterday or the day before from 9 to 11. All I did was just think about 2026 and my goals. And that was very freeing because I wasn't working. For me, that's not like, I'm not working in the business, not pushing the needle. I'm not like, I was just able to kind of relax into just, yeah, I'm going to think here. And so, that, that concept of whatever you want day or do whatever you want, couple hours, those are impactful.
Very much so. What about you, Adam? What's your big takeaway?
I'm a harness Jen here for a second before I give my takeaway for you, Patrick. Like, I think, like part of following kind of where your like desire is important, because I think it's easy to get locked in on like, where's my next client? What, like, how am I going to grind this forward? But sometimes just like flowing with where you want to be, like maybe you're just today like, okay, I'm going, I don't know, to axe throwing or something.
Mm-hmm.
You may very well bump into like who your next best client is in that moment, where you could have spent all this time grinding at home doing emails and all this other stuff and never found one.
Yes.
So I think there's some opportunity and power in like following kind of the abundance or the calling of where you should be, and not forcing yourself to keep grinding in and maybe opportunities or situations that don't seem to be making sense. That's kind of an aside from the question that you asked me. So my biggest personal takeaway though, babe, is kind of like there's power in peace. I think it's one of those key foundational elements that hold us up, like with health and some other things. Without it, I don't know that we can truly be successful in our day, in our life, in our relationships. If we don't have peace, we're stressed, we're angry, we're whatever, we're not going to be a good partner. We're not going to be a good friend. We're not going to be a good employee. We're not going to be a good lot of things. So I see that this series and this concept is really a core value of living like a successful and a fulfilling and abundant life. So I think if you don't have enough peace in your life, you should be really absorbing, working on, and thinking about this stuff, because it is absolutely critical.
That's awesome. Thank you, guys. As we close this episode and this year, I want everybody to just take a moment and remember reflection is an incredible key to success. And, the shifts that we've made through the year, like we have to think about which ones really feel like true progress. And even the small ones, right? Even if it's just waking up whenever you want on Sundays, or reframing the term of something, right? From do nothing to do whatever you want, it can make a huge impact. And, I have to remind you of something that I say to my daughter all the time, but in this case, it's about growth. But, you don't have to be perfect to be powerful.
Mm.
And it's about those baby steps and just investing in ourselves. And that's the best investment that you're going to make ever, because it actually feeds all the ones around you that you love. So as 2025 comes to a close, I invite you to carry these lessons forward the courage and the compassion you've discovered through all of these episodes that we've offered so far, and let those guide you gently into the new year for whatever shifts await. So here's to continuing the work, nourishing your peace, and embracing every step of the unique path. And you're not alone in this. Have a great holiday. We have a new health shift series coming up next, and we hope to see you there. Take care.
And that's it for today's shift. Thank you so much for sharing this space with us. If you're loving the conversation, become a shifty. Like, follow, subscribe, and most of all, share this episode with someone who's shifting too, or someone who seriously needs to get their shift together.
Do you have thoughts, questions, topic requests, or maybe you're feeling the nudge to collaborate? Visit us at shiftsisterpodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you. We're so grateful for your presence, your friendship, and your willingness to do the work with us. Because shift happens and we're not meant to do it alone.
We'll meet you back here next time to breathe, reflect, and talk shift.